watching Halton News right here on your TV. It's Tuesday, November 3rd. I'm your host, Sherry Ford, in for Jessica Kading. As of airtime, Halton had not updated their COVID-19 numbers, so taking a look at Monday's numbers, the region stayed steady at 247 active cases since last Friday, although numbers have trended in the wrong direction in Oakville. They have 13 new cases since Friday, bringing their total number to 111. Burlington has fared much better, reporting 53 active cases, down from 66. Milton is up 1 case to 55, and Halton Hills is down 1 active case since last Friday at 28. For any updates to these numbers or questions or concerns about COVID-19, please go to halton.ca. Meanwhile, Ontario is reporting a daily high in new cases of COVID-19 with 1,050. Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced today major changes to how it will impose COVID-19 shutdowns with a new tiered system. All of Halton region has been placed in the protect or yellow level. That means, for example, that restaurants can still open, but there will be imposed restrictions on operating hours or restricted hours for serving liquor.
Today, we're releasing our province's COVID-19 response framework. This framework was developed in consultation with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, the Public Health Measures Table, local medical officers of health, and other health system experts. This planning framework provides structure. It will help inform decisions on a regional and province-wide public health measures based on the data we're seeing. The framework will also provide more certainty to businesses, families, and workers. It will help us introduce preventative measures early to slow the spread, early interventions that will help us avoid more restrictive measures like the shutdowns and lockdowns we're now seeing in more and more countries around the world. It takes a gradual approach to public health measures, cautiously escalating or reducing restrictions as we see changes in the local data. Brant, Durham, Halton, and Hamilton will be moved into the protect level as we add preventative measures to slow the spread of COVID-19 and keep these regions from needing more restrictions. And thanks to Minister Bethenfalvy, we have a brand new dashboard on COVID-19 website to provide that important information. This brand new dashboard, it's great news. It will allow you to see exactly where the trends are going. You will have the access to the exact same public health data and information as I do. And I want you to see what I see. This information will be updated daily. It will give you a direct line of sight into hospital beds, ICU capacity, test positivity rates in your region, because it's critical that everyone has the access to this information so you can take the necessary steps to protect yourself, your family, and your community. By taking these steps today, we'll be in a stronger position to handle the second wave and the future ones. Together, we can keep COVID-19 at bay and fight to get back a little more of our normal lives. And right now, that's worth everything.
Joining me now is Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward. And of course, I don't have to tell you how businesses are struggling as we continue to fight this second wave of the pandemic. You must be relieved that in today's provincial announcement that Doug Ford is not shutting down indoor dining. In fact, yesterday you held a special meeting of council where you approved motions related to extending patio season for local restaurants. Where did you get on that important issue?
We are allowing restaurants to maintain their patios until October 31st, 2021. So right after Halloween next year, the patios will be out. We also approved allowing tents to be on those patios subject to a permit process. Our staff have to go out and have a look at them. And we've also set up a grant program to reimburse anyone that applies for a tent permit to get that back. So we are really trying to assist. And of course, this permission to take your business outside, as it were, is for any retail. It's mostly going to be used, we think, by restaurants, but our bylaw is for retail uses outside. And we're also going to be evaluating on a case-by-case basis those restaurants that are on city rights of way and sidewalks to make sure that we can continue to operate snow clearing and maintenance throughout the winter in those areas.
Now, also in this special meeting, you talked about ranked ballots. Now, I thought that that was a dead deal because the government said no, but you needed to talk about that further.
So we put forward, two of our council colleagues, Councillor Shauna Stolte and Rory Nissan, put forward a resolution that we sent to the province. They get to decide whether or not we can have even a conversation about ranked ballots, let alone, if our community wants it, go forward. That right was given to us by the previous government. This government tucked it into an omnibus bill to revoke that. Whatever your views on ranked ballots, we felt it was very important to say to the government two things. Residents should decide for themselves if they want to change electoral systems. That opportunity has been taken from us. We were about to embark on a conversation to take the temperature of our community on that issue, and we assume it'll go through this week. It still hasn't passed yet, but we wanted to send that message before a decision was made. And secondly, when you're about to make decisions of this magnitude that dramatically affect municipalities and particularly democracy, talk to us. They didn't consult. So that really, the issue became more about local choice and consultation than whatever a person's view might be about ranked ballots. I was looking forward to the conversation. The community was. We hadn't made any decisions about whether it was the right choice for us here in Burlington, but that whole discussion and decision is poised to be taken away from us based on whatever they decide to do this week. It's not cool.
And I see you scheduled your next COVID telephone town hall for November 18th.
Really looking forward to touching base again with the community. I know there's a lot of questions about what this second wave means. We've been successful in not being shut down. There's a new framework that was just put out by the province with some additional guidance. That's exactly what we've been looking for, a targeted approach and some guidelines for how to operate safely. I know there's going to be a lot of questions. We've had as many as 4,000 people on our town halls. It's a great way to, just by use of a simple technology, get on the phone and get in the queue to ask your question. It's live, it's interactive. We will have representatives from our hospital on the call. So, and a whole bunch more guests. We always have a great panel. So tune in. It is on the 18th.
Something I didn't know about you. I just found out that you're a dual citizen. So did you vote? Because it's a big day down south.
I am one of those folks who mailed in my ballot well ahead of time, so I expect it to be counted. Yes, I did vote.
Excellent. Should be very fascinating theater down south. Anyway, thanks for your time and stay safe.
Thank you so much. You too. Stay healthy.
Joseph Brant Hospital is making changes to its COVID-19 testing operations to better serve the Burlington community in colder weather. Starting today, drive-through testing will be discontinued and all testing will be conducted indoors at the assessment center. This will help protect the health and safety of both the public and the staff over the winter months. The assessment center is easily accessed from the entrance on North Shore Boulevard, with signs clearly directing visitors to the orange entrance doors and the designated parking area. Please arrive at your scheduled time, as parking is limited, and wait in your vehicle until the time of your appointment. If you arrive on foot, please do not enter until your scheduled appointment time. We have all been impacted by the pandemic in some way, but as is often the case, our most vulnerable citizens have been disproportionate hardships. Goodwill is an important charitable service provider on the poverty landscape, offering employment services to those in need. CEO Kelly Duffin joins the issue tonight, talking about some of the challenges that her organization and her clients have attempted to overcome during COVID-19.
We really had to, word of the year, pivot to virtual service and move our workshops online, move our services online. And that had some pros and cons, because for more remote people, but people who have technology, it actually made us more accessible. But for the people that are really the most marginalized, who do not have the technology, they lost the ability to come in and be served in person. So it was interesting for us to see how that can be both a barrier and create barriers. Nonetheless, we persisted, and we were actually able, despite the massive increase in the unemployment rate, to place a number of people in jobs, and we really helped essential employers find a workforce. So that was the employment service side. As you mentioned, our donations, we were not able to receive them and our stores were closed. So that was one of the huge impacts in terms of a loss of revenue for us. I mean, not-for-profits, and I'm sure David will have seen this as well. Our fundraising events have been canceled. Those who rely on membership dues, people aren't able to afford that anymore, and our social enterprises have been impacted. So we were closed for 9.5 weeks. That caused us to lay off 55% of our staff. And that was heartbreaking for an organization that's all about employment. And of course, it's difficult to recover from because that's a permanent loss of revenue against which continue to be fixed costs.
The full episode of The Issue airs tonight at 8 p.m. Duffin is joined by David Vanderberg of Wellington Square United Church. The episode centers around ways we can support each other during the pandemic. On Monday, Premier Doug Ford announced an increase in the hours of direct care for each long-term care resident to an average of 4 hours a day. Today, the Ontario government is taking the first step towards building 3 new long-term care homes by making land available in Oakville, Aurora, and Vaughan, by selling 3 surplus provincial properties with the requirement that long-term care homes are erected on each of them. The location in Oakville is at 165 Dundas Street West and is expected to house 512 long-term care beds. Mayor Rob Burton declared November Women's Abuse Prevention Month earlier today at Town Hall. Let's take a look.
Whereas abuse can be violent, sexual, emotional, financial, and spiritual in nature, and whereas 1 in 4 Canadian women will face abuse at some point in their lives, there are almost 500,000 sexual assaults in Canada each year, and a woman is killed by her intimate partner every 6 days in Canada. And whereas it is every woman's and child's fundamental right to live in safety and security in their home and in their community, and whereas helping abused women and their children find safety, shelter, and hope is a duty for all of us, and whereas abuse should not have a place in Halton or in society, and ending abuse is everyone's issue, and whereas we are grateful to Halton Women's Place and all our partners for their steadfast work in assisting women and children, now therefore, I do hereby proclaim November 2020 as Women Abuse Prevention Month in the town of Oakville of the province of Ontario.
It's Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week. Help keep your family safe by installing carbon monoxide alarms in your home and test them monthly. Over 65% of all carbon monoxide deaths and injuries in Ontario occur in homes. Legions across Halton are asking for your donations now more than ever during this year's Poppy campaign. Yesterday, we brought you a story about how COVID-19 will negatively affect the bottom line in this year's fundraising campaign for the Georgetown Legion. Well, today, our Melissa Candelaria went to speak with Bob Elliott at the Milton branch, who says they are going through a similar sting.
Bob Elliott with the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 136 in Milton is ever hopeful that Miltonians will come together to support their biggest fundraiser of the year. As the Poppy campaign continues, Elliott says things are going to be different this year.
We are not sending people out to stand just inside or just outside various businesses with poppy boxes this year, which does in normal years bring in a fair amount of our revenue. We are relying on wreath sales and counter boxes. And of course, the problem with the counter boxes is that some locations that have accepted them in the past are closed because of COVID. Others have very restricted access, so it's not appropriate to put a counter box there. So we're trying to get out as many as we can. And of course, the schools, with their reduced attendance because of the online learning that I believe something like 30% have opted for, they'll have a reduced attendance for their ceremonies. So there are fewer poppies and stickers going out to the schools.
Last year's campaign brought in roughly $66,000, and the Legion is anticipating less this year. Elliott does say they've managed to find some savings in an effort to help alleviate the expected revenue loss.
Our distributions last year were roughly between 10 and 15,000 less than they would have been in a normal year, because there are normally two district conventions a year, one in the spring, one in the fall, and we generally make donations at each. Well, it was only the spring donations that went out, so we saved a fair amount by not making the fall donations. But that helps maintain our fund, but it doesn't do things like the Provincial Poppy Fund or the Homeless Veterans Fund any good.
Meanwhile, beyond the Poppy campaign, Elliott says the Milton Legion has had to make some modifications to this year's Remembrance Day ceremonies.
We are not having the parade up in Haltonville, which is 15 Side Road and Guelph Line, and we're not having the parade from the branch to Victoria Park that we normally do with the large service there. We will be having a very abbreviated service with minimal attendance at Evergreen Cemetery on the 11th, following which members of the executive will be laying reefs that are designated for Victoria Park. The Sunday before, that's this coming Sunday, the 8th, we will be laying the reefs that are designated for Haltonville.
And if you can't get your hands on a poppy, you can still show your support by buying a poppy mask. The Navy League of Canada Milton branch, in partnership with My Identity Designs, started a poppy mask campaign for the Legion. So far, they have sold about 200 masks. To place an order, all you have to do is call 905-878-9005. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Alyssa Candelaria.
Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to Halton News. You may have noticed that Tannery Park observation deck was lit up in blue for the first time this weekend. Nikki Wesley explains the significance of this new hue.
November is Children's Grief Awareness Month.
And the reason that this month exists is children are often the hidden mourners in society. They're often the ones that get forgotten. And really what we want to happen in the month of November is to ignite conversations around children's grief, to get people talking and recognizing that children and youth need that opportunity to process their feelings. They need support. They need to be able to build their resilience for the future, because we know that when they don't have those opportunities, anxiety, depression, and other mental health illnesses can often arise in young adulthood. So it's really important to give these children and youth the opportunity to process their feelings, give them the right type of support when they need that support.
Research has been done around bereaved children and youth and the impact it has on their life in comparison to their non-bereaved peers.
And the research has shown that bereaved children and youth often engage in more drug and alcohol abuse. They're more likely to miss school. They're more likely to end up in the criminal justice system, unless there are supports available to them to enable them to process through those feelings at the right time and in the right place, and give them that opportunity to really come to terms with what their grief means for them and how they can move forward in that grief.
The blue butterfly is the symbol of children's grief. Oakville's GVA Lighting made Lighthouse's dream a reality and have lit Tannery Park Observation Deck Inspire in blue for the month of November.
We're highlighting on the flagpoles at Tannery Park some of the key statistics that people may not realize. That 1 in 14 children will be bereaved before they reach the age of 18. That's 203,000 children in our communities. And we want to ignite conversations and shine the spotlight on the magnitude of this situation.
Former Lighthouse board member, Minister Anita Anand, attended the inaugural lighting.
This wonderful, wonderful piece of essentially architecture that is now lit up is another symbol of the role of Lighthouse in Oakville and the broader Halton community. And we need you, and we are very, very grateful for everything that you do in our community to help grieving children and grieving families. It is what this community is about, and we thank you for your leadership.
Councillor Dave Giddings championed this project through council.
When you look at that today, it is truly a symbol of hope. And we are incredibly fortunate in Oakville as well as throughout Halton, because your services touch so many lives and so many families during a time that I can't even imagine.
Lighthouse does not receive government funding. To help support them, go to www.supportlh.com. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
We're looking at the Naval Memorial here at Spencer Smith Park in Burlington, and we're looking ahead at the 5-day forecast. It's a nice one, going up to a high of 16 on Wednesday under partly cloudy skies, 17 and cloudy on Thursday, sunny and 17 on Friday, and the weekend looks amazing, a high of 18 and sunny both Saturday and Sunday. Amazing for November. Attention Burlington businesses. The Burlington Safe Restart program is accepting applications for round 2. This program provides grants to help businesses open safely and follow key public health guidelines to stop the spread of COVID-19. Applications close November 9th. For more information, go to bedc.ca. Now let's take a look at today's closing markets. Thank you for joining us here on Halton News. We need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with an update from the Burlington Food Bank. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. I'm Sherry Ford in for Jessica Kading. It was a successful Halloween for the Burlington Food Bank. In today's update, Robin Bailey talks about the generous donations they received over the weekend.
I'm Robin Bailey, the Executive Director of the Burlington Food Bank, and we're just coming off of Halloween weekend, and we wanted to thank the community for tremendous support. This food is from the Sheldon Creek neighborhood that did a great food drive for us. We aren't sure of the weight yet. We're looking forward to finding out. We also wanted to thank Bob's Haunted House. They raised a little bit over 700 items and over 650 pounds, which is amazing. He said it's the best year they've ever had. So thank you so much for supporting us in that. And we continue to hear from different organizations and community partners here in Burlington that are looking to do food drives for us. We really appreciate it because our food drive numbers are down right now. We're looking forward to collecting from Assumption, Corpus Christi, and a few other schools that have said that they do things for us. Thanks so much, and we really appreciate your continued support. Remember, you can donate through your local fire hall and through your local grocery stores.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.